Okay, so I thought I would talk about YouTube algorithms and life and karma and see if we can relate this a lot to everything that beats within our heart to make us feel that we're not actually good enough. Now, believe it or not, a lot of you probably watch this tarot channel and see it for tarot, but I actually used to do this for many years before I actually changed jobs and started to do another thing, but on the same channel. Now, YouTube started to introduce something called algorithms. And basically what that is a brain, and it basically thinks for you. But what is it that makes you think about that the most? Is it more stress that you're trying to improve to outdo and outshine YouTube or outshine to do something else? But what do we strive, and what is it that we want to do best? Is it literally to outdo a brain that thinks for you, or do you learn, or do we learn to actually think for ourselves more amicably, and whether people actually relate everything to karma? Now, is karma actually real? Do other people actually have karma, or do you have karma within just yourself? Does a projection screen or a projection of blame or trying to strive to outdo somebody, does that make things better? Or does it actually make things worse for you or for them? Okay, so when we start to look at algorithms of striving to do more in life and fearing things and fearing, well, I'm not good enough at this, I'm not good enough at that, you know, I just won't succeed and it just takes too much effort for me to do. So what do? Well, we slip through the rabbit hole, right, which still relates to algorithms of the Matrix. Algorithms and mind processes, they all fluctuate and they start to form a bond with one another of negativity. Negativity is something of brain theory, which was the theory of relativity. Okay. Now, the theory of relativity is how we relate with other people and how we relate mostly with ourselves. Okay. So when we've slipped through the matrix rabbit hole of life and we start to fear and anxiety and start to worry and panic, we're actually forming an unrelative motion through ourselves of fear. Now, what does fear actually do, and what does it prove to be the most? Okay, well, it grows, right? It grows and it grows and it grows and it grows, just like YouTube does, just like fear does, just like watching YouTube and looking at everybody else doing really well, that makes us think, well, because they're doing really well and they have millions of subscribers or loads of followers, or people really look up to that person, am I good enough to do something like that? Or do I need to copy something that they do like that? Or am I individual, and that can I actually do something different in a different way or explain it a different way? You see, the brain starts to form a bond with how it is that you think and how it is that you fear. So when we relate a lot of this to also karma, okay, karma, meaning some people in life, they want to outdo somebody else. And sometimes what we do is, for a projection screen, just like the telly projects to us of what we learn through brain activity, we actually realise, or should realise, is the fact that we are actually the projection screen that is projecting something of fear that we can't do. So we try to outshine or outdo. Okay, so never go without, go within. Never go without, but go within. When you can find that within, you start to realise, and we can then start to study things of theory of stem cells, and where the stem cell therapy was a lot to do with burning things from our subconscious memory and burning things away. Okay, so then when we learn that we can fuse out and our energy levels get low, that's when we can start to blame, and then we can start to have fear to think that we're not good enough. But what is it that you ever tried where you thought, okay, well, at least I tried and I didn't get it, but I feel much better now, the fact that I didn't get it? Some people in life, actually, once they've gone for that thing and they've really done it and they thought, okay, well, at least the fear's gone. I didn't get the job, or I didn't get the project, or it didn't quite work out the way it did. But at least I feel a lot better now because I'm not going through the process of motion, through worrying all of that time that it took me to pick myself up, to go and strive to do more and strive to do better. Okay, so then a lot of people then can then start to analyse and start to go through an algorithm of going up and down in life. And then we can start to self-destruct. We can start to think, well, my hair's really long, right? Or my smile's not quite on point. Or I don't quite look the way that I should. Or should I dress up and be a certain way in order to impress somebody? You know, or should I know so much knowledge and that there's a lot of people in this queue waiting to get this job, or there's a lot of people on YouTube that are striving to do better, and if I go for this job, am I going to be able to do anything different than what they are? You see, at the beginning of stem cells and the theory of relativity, really, it all stems from you. It stems from you, okay? Because fear, like I said, it can grow, and then when we're standing in queue and standing in a line, like a domino effect, okay, we start to stand in that queue and we're like, really? Okay, well, this guy, he's got a suit on, he's got a tie on, he's not just got a black top and long hair, right? And the fact that then he's kind of like, well, you know, he's got a bag, and he's got, oh my God, I can't outdo him. Oh my God, the person at the front has just come out the office smiling. And then you're standing in that queue waiting for God knows how long, okay? And going to say, oh, well, I probably might just go because I don't think I'll get it, because it looks like someone else has got the job, you know. I know that might not physically happen, but what we're looking at is the brain activity, okay. Now YouTube, they started to introduce, and they have done it for a while, which is the brain of everything, which is like Google and analytics, okay, and algorithms. Now algorithms is exactly the same as how your rhythm floats within the broken hearts beat the most. Because don't they just, you know, when our heart is broken, isn't it just? Isn't it the legal system? Isn't it justice? Is it justice that we want? Or is it justice that we want to harm somebody else? If you look at it within love or feelings or emotions that are created with any kind of emotion within ourselves that stems from the theory of ourselves. Okay, so then when this gets too much, we can really start to form patterns of denial, you know, where we're falling deeper into the rabbit hole. But the rabbit hole, okay, the rabbit hole is there for one reason only, because it's step one. It's step one. It's the thing that holds everybody up, okay, everybody. Of what I've gone over with this through Patreon as well, okay? But this is the meaning of life. A glass of water, okay? It's emotion. It's the people that hold us up in society to teach us the most. But who is the most important person in your life? And everybody would always say, well, I look up at Tom Cruise, or I look up at this icon, okay? Or I look up to my parents being the most important person in my life, or I look up to my children being the most important person in my life. But even though my children that I'm looking up to are actually a lot smaller than me, and what I'm really doing is looking down, right? Is the fact that I'm actually looking down. So why look down when you should look up? You know, because where you're going is an algorithm that goes up. It doesn't go down. Okay, when we look at vibration of aggression, okay, and I used to teach this quite a long time ago when I used to work at schools and stuff, okay. Now, if you look at bullies or people that have aggression or they have anger, when we look at an algorithm within our vibration, okay, our vibration is here, and we're looking at someone and they're looking at us, and we're on a face-off. We're like, well, I want harm to come to you, basically. Okay, basically. But we're going to be nice, right? But people can get into an argument with somebody, and you can get into an argument with them too. And they say something that hurts your feelings, right? But your feelings are really just from your head. They're not your heart. Your heart doesn't break. It's a hard habit to break, right? And a habit stems from the head, because it's a habit. People can do that, or they can do smoke, or they can do anything, okay? So when we look towards this, what we're looking at is the future, is this person that's right in front of us, right? And we're at standoff. We have to face that fear, okay, to make it go away. So how do we do that? Well, when you argue, you form an aggression of someone that says something that you don't like. So what do? You respond, right? You respond with an action that is verbally said that you can't take back, because said goes out into a word, into time and metaphysics that you can't take back because you can't see it, but you can only hear it, okay? Hear it. It's exactly the same as fear, right? You can't see fear, but you only hear it in your head when you're thinking it, right? So it's not real. It's not actually there. It's only something that you're stemming to believe in yourself. So then we form this bond of believing in ourselves, right? This, who's the most important person in our lives, okay? So when you're at a standoff with this person and you're kind of like into an argument, or where people are in an argument, you know, because you stand back and observe. Being very observant is very good in order to be able to study people's emotions and behaviour, because when you study their behaviour, you can also then reflect it onto your own to strive to do better, to do more, and to not do the same as what everybody else is doing, which is all to do with changing our mind, okay? Changing our mind. We have option of anger and aggression of a response, but the time gap between here and here is the distance of when you need to analyse the situation, just like Google analysts, okay? But we'll go on to that. But when you're in a confrontation, okay, with somebody, if they're saying something to you, say something that you can stand there for a very long time screaming and getting red and like, oh my, you know, and it doesn't work. And then you get in trouble, or they do, or whoever, okay? And then basically, so if you give this person what they want, which is a negative response, you're just forming a negative connection between two people, between your head, okay? Your heart, your mind, body, and soul. 3, okay? 3 is the master number of the master teacher, okay? But that will be different, okay? But when you're looking at this, you're looking at this person that wants a negative response. So you don't give them one. What you give them is a positive, okay? You always look on the bright side of life and look things straight in the eye and give it a positive response. You don't worry about it, okay? You just leave them to it. But when you give them a positive response to an aggressive response, what is their response going to be if you're giving them something positive to look at? Because it's right in front of them. Something positive to look at. So they have no response, right? Their response has to be something of positivity, because they have to think about what it is that they're then going to say. Now, I know that I'm not projecting this to people, I'm projecting this as an energy that's felt of how it is that we learn from right from wrong. A lot of people in life, because we are now older, we actually think that we're up here, right? But really, within our minds, we can sometimes be down here, you know. Polar opposite of your central point of yin and yang remains to be everything, to remain centered and balanced. So when we start to look at algorithms in life, okay, and on YouTube, it's a ladder. The ladder of ascension. The essential point of ascension, of growing, of climbing a ladder and climbing stairs, okay? So when we're at step 1, which is where the rabbit hole is when we wake up in the morning and we go from the first house to the 7th, okay? We align everything within our chakras to realise, I'm alive, I'm here, I'm awake, hi, right? Welcome to the rabbit hole. The rabbit hole of fear that makes us believe that what we're watching is real. And then what we lose is grips of reality to realise whether we are actually in society or out of society. Who is it that's the best? Okay. So fear is only something that we do to analyse ourselves, you know, because up this rabbit hole is then where we can then start to form a pattern of behavior, just like standing in a queue. Because we know that algorithms within YouTube goes up and down, and then sometimes people reach success and then they go down, and then they reach success and then they go down, and then they have a very popular part, but then they go down. So when you go up and it feels really good, but then you go down, obviously it feels real bad, and you think, well, that video didn't really do very well, and what am I going to do? Well, I can't seem to do any better than anybody else, so I might as well just give up. So you go back down to the rabbit hole. But the rabbit hole is always there. You will always go up and you will always go down, okay? Just like the algorithms of YouTube now, okay? So what do? Well, we strive to be better, okay? We strive to be better because what you're following is the calling of your soul, the calling of your karma. Karma is not there that will ever harm another person, and it won't, because karma's not there. It is there, but it's there for an individual of one person. Because we're all created by one person, thing, energy, okay? Depends if you're spiritual or not. But because we're all created by one, we all are an individual part of one. So you can never, ever think that karma is something that you're going to deal and dish out. Because you can't dish out karma, because you give as good as you get, right? You give as good as you get, right? So what is it that you're getting? Frustrated? Are you getting angry? Are you getting to the point where this object of desire is not doing what we want it to do, okay? Because it has its own brain, just like Google and YouTube, right? It has its own brain of remembering everything that you're doing, and then you have to tweak it in order to find a better process or a better way of explaining things or a different way of doing it. Okay, so it's change, okay? But we can never project out change of someone else not changing, because then what do you form? Frustration. Again, frustration. You ever played the game Frustration? What is it? Frustrating. So what are you playing? A game, right? So playing a game is blaming YouTube, or blaming other people that they're doing well, or that they're not doing what we want them to do. If you relate this to love, or the theory of everything, where does it stem from? Here. Stems from here, right? Stems from in your head. It stems from the rabbit hole. Some people in karma, because they can't control what someone else is doing, they actually think that we're doing wrong. So we can feel like we're doing wrong. But we're not. We're standing above the crowd. We're standing up here already because we're following our own calling. The people that are at the beginnings of things, they're the people that strive to want to do better, okay? Because they're the ones that will constantly work. Work. But I don't just mean like work at money, I mean work at everything. Work on themselves in order to be different. Because when you're trying to be different, you're thinking of yourself, and you're thinking of what's most important to you as well, which is your family or your home, okay? So when you're thinking of positivity, of striving to do better, to not be a different way for somebody or against them or for, okay, what you're really doing is standing above the crowd anyway. It's only what you believe this person is thinking that, well, actually, I'm actually looking down here, an algorithm, down here. Because I'm not arguing. This person's having to look up to me to wait for a response because they lowered their vibration. Everything in life. I'm actually rising above the crowd now because I'm doing something different, which is not the response of being at this elevation of a line, a timeline, an algorithm. My heart's changed. My mind's changed. My heart's not changed. My mind's changed. The process of the spark within my head is now gone up here. I'm alive. Alive she cried from the other side, right? I've gone up in life. I no longer have here to deal with because I'm actually up here and I'm not thinking because I've dealt with it. Okay, because I've dealt with it. Okay, so that's a little piece, but I'm going to have to stop now because I've got other things to do today. But I thought I would come back onto the camera to show myself of things that I used to do before I did this. That's what I'm saying. I changed renovation and motivation into another project, but still related everything to the same feel and feeling. Okay? It doesn't mean that you have to complete. Sometimes when we find our alignment of being good at something, okay, but we feel good within ourselves, doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, as long as we love it that much to be different or say different things or do different things, that just means that we're learning to be better, to do better. Okay, so like I said at the beginning, I passed one to do this, like a test, a retrograde test, passed one for another, but then can go back to another, to forward, to back. You see, testing, coming Norton, right? Testing ourselves, testing algorithms within ourselves, testing algorithms of YouTube, testing the boundaries of reality, of belief that happen to be a lie. Life spells lie within it. Believe spells lie within it. Belief spells lie within it. So what do you believe in? The I, right? I can. I am. Okay? So please make sure that you hit the bell for me in order to subscribe, or hit the bell for notifications to help me out with the algorithms, okay? And stay tuned for other videos that I do have coming up and other things that you can find in the description below, guys. Thank you so much for giving me your time, and I will hopefully catch you again very soon. Thanks.